Hello, welcome back to another video, and I've got a very exciting start to this one because something that I've been waiting for quite a while has finally arrived from our local framers, so I thought we could unwrap it and put it up together. For my birthday earlier this year, Connor bought me a print by Loyae, who is an artist that I absolutely love, and I actually found her on YouTube because she makes videos documenting her art practice and her journey and career as a full-time artist. So if you haven't seen them before, definitely go check them out. The print that Connor got me is from our favourite series of hers, and it's a bit of a departure from her usual style. She paints amazing realistic landscapes and scenes from nature, but the print I've got, as you'll see, has got this amazing abstract background with some very cute tiny little mushrooms. And Connor and I, we kind of love the symbol of the mushroom for I don't know, they're just so complex, they're interesting, they kind of breathe new life into the world. And Connor has some mushroom tattoos. We also both like the book Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, which is a fantastic book and features kind of creepy mushrooms. So this was kind of the perfect addition to our home, and yeah, I'm really excited to put it up. In this video, I don't have a set plan yet, but I've got lots of things that I want to show you. I've been buying quite a few books recently because another one of my hobbies, as well as sewing, is not only reading, but buying books. They are definitely different hobbies, right? So I've bought quite a few books recently. We went on a trip to Bath where I bought some, and I often peruse our local second-hand book, charity books at National Trust and in town. So yeah, I will do a little book haul. And I'm sure we'll do some sewing as well. In my previous video, if you haven't seen that, where I talk through my current sewing projects on the go, I might finally finish that tiny tapestry where I had the binding literally pinned on and had put it down. So yeah, let's get started.
My business, humming a song. I'm happy by myself, not a care in the world. This is a life, just me, myself, and I am watching the clouds up in the sky, all but laughing out loud. I'm telling you why I'm living the life, just me, myself, and I.
I think the binding is probably one of those techniques where everybody has a slightly different way of doing it, or a method that they've honed over the years. And I know doing the binding is still one of the things that I find the most challenging. As you'll have seen from the clips, sometimes I don't quite get the distance right between the parts that I've already sewed on. And if I get just that little bit extra in the middle, I get like a bit of a crease, or it's really hard to try and ease the fabric through to not get a little crease. So I just had a go, unpicked it, and when that happens, I just sew a tiny line as straight as I possibly can next to or in from the one that I've already sewn, just to reduce the fabric that I've got left in that middle part of binding, and then sew it on again. But I think it's really important to mention that I am absolutely by no means a professional at this, and I think we can all see these videos or watch other people do it who perhaps have got a really long history of sewing, and they make it look so easy, right? But then when you give it a go and it's so much harder than you imagine, it can be really off-putting. And I think that's why I want to show all of the challenges that I face as well. So yeah, you'll have seen that I did have to unpick this, I did have to try again. Like this tapestry, as you can see, the more I sewed, the slightly wobblier the lines got each time. And so my lines aren't straight anymore, they do kind of lean. But I think it's really important not to let perfection get in the way of having a go, and you're only going to get better by keeping practicing. So that's really what I'm trying to do, and I know it can be difficult when it doesn't go exactly how you want it to and you've spent so much time into a piece. But you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to make something handmade, then it's going to be handmade, and I think all the imperfections show how much kind of effort and skills that you're learning as well. Even if you're finding it challenging at the moment, we all do, so don't worry, you're not alone, and keep going. So the only thing left for me to do now is to turn this binding round and to hand stitch it onto the back. So I'm hoping that I'll have just about enough. I've done my usual binding measurements, so I'm hoping I will have just the right amount to ease over and to hand stitch it onto the back, and of course trim off all my little loose threads or long threads, and then this one will finally be done. I thought we'd take a bit of a break from sewing to do a book haul, and I'm hoping that there are some readers in amongst us sewers and quilters too. I'm going to start with the books that we got from Persephone Books, which are a press in Bath that reprint fiction and non-fiction, mostly from the mid-20th century. I'd heard about Persephone Books from Simon Savage's videos. I love his videos, and it was one of the key places that I wanted to go while we were in Bath. Most of their books have these classic grey covers and then have the most gorgeous end pages and matching bookmarks. So I'll take a few cutaways to show you the lovely designs. Because of the grey covers, when you go into the shop, they have these little cards for every single book that you can read a bit more about what the book is about, why it's been reprinted, who the author is, maybe if the book was lost or forgotten, or how challenging it's been to get it to print, which is super helpful when deciding what to pick up. I got the Hopkins manuscript by R.C. Sheriff, because this is a bit of a sci-fi. Sci-fi and fantasy are probably my top genres, and I love anything with a hint of mystery as well. And as far as I can tell, this is about a time where the moon is about to crash into the earth. And I'm really interested to see what happens in that one. And I actually bought another book by the same author, R.C. Sheriff, this time The Fortnight in September. And I think it's about a family holiday that this family always takes, and just all the small details that happen in the inner workings of their minds. I really do like books that focus on really zooming in on the details of life and the things that we all take for granted or that pass us by every day in our busy lives. And I think this would be a great summer read as well, with it being about a summer holiday, so I might try to get to this one soon. Connor picked up a couple of books as well. The first is Sofia Petrovna by Lydia Tchaikovskaya, and he's already read this one. He absolutely raced through it, and I think this is one of these kind of miracle books that really shouldn't exist but somehow has. I believe the author fled from either the First or Second World War. I'll need to check and put it on the screen. I'm sure Connor knows, but she'd left the draft of this novel with a friend, and the friend managed to keep it and finally get it to publication many years later. Next, I'm going to move on to the books that I bought in Topping & Co, which is an amazing bookshop in Bath, and that proper traditional bookshop feel with the wooden panels and your classic sliding ladders. The first book I picked up that I have heard loads of good things about, and is such a nice little short read that I could probably get through in a day or two, is A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr. Now, this is about a survivor of the First World War who goes to seek refuge in a small English village, and is about what he gets up to there. So I think this is going to have a really lovely lyrical pastoral feel, and it's just had such good acclaim recently. I guess it's on a bit of a revival, so I'm really interested to give that one a go. The next one I picked up is The Extinction of Irina Ray by Jennifer Croft. Now, this is a more recent book. I think it's only come out in paperback in the last year or so, and this is written by an award-winning translator. I did start it, but I have put it down and need to go back to it. But I think this is going to be quite a weird and wacky book. This is about a group of translators who have a bit of a close relationship with the author that they translate the work of. They all translate into different languages, and they really revere her. They've gone to her house to translate kind of her next masterpiece, and I think that maybe she disappears. So I think it's going to have a lot to say, both in plot but also in form, which I'm really looking forward to. Now, one book that I've already read but borrowed from the library and really wanted to get my own copy of is The Tartar Steppe, also known as The Stronghold, by Dino Buzzati. I read this recently this year as part of Jess Letherby's Substack, which is called The Unseen Review, and I would highly recommend, if you're interested in doing more close reading or slow reading with a group of like-minded people. It's described as strange and haunting and eccentric classic, and that's definitely how I would also describe it. And because I'd enjoyed that one so much, I wanted to pick up another book by the same author, so I got The Singularity. Now, this is about an unassuming university professor who is summoned by the Ministry of Defence to accept a 2-year top secret mission at a mysterious research centre, which ticks so many boxes for the kinds of things that I like. So I'm really interested to get onto this one, and it's another really short one, which I'm hoping that I'll be able to race through. And the last one is another that Connor picked up, which is We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. Connor obviously reads his new books much quicker than I do because he has just finished this one as well. This is a classic dystopian fiction that actually inspired Orwell's 1984. I actually studied 1984 for my A-levels, so I think this one will be a great companion to read and compare it to. And last, I've just got 2 books that I've picked up recently from secondhand shops. The first is the children's book by A.S. Byatt, which I picked up at our local National Trust. I love going out for a walk in National Trust and then browse at the bookshop. That's like my favourite thing to do at the weekend. And I have Possession by A.S. Byatt, which I haven't yet read, but I've heard such good things about it, and this was in the same kind of edition. Again, a bit of mystery, a bit of family secrets, so this is another that I would like to get to soon, although it is an absolute chunk of a book, over 600 pages, not to mention that the copy is also tiny. And last but very much not least, I picked up Lucy Worsley's Jane Austen at Home. Now, I'd specifically been on the lookout for this book, and I couldn't believe it when I found it in our local secondhand bookshop because the bookshop's pretty small. But I have heard a recommendation for this from Ariel Bissett of Books Unbound. Now, Books Unbound is my absolute favourite podcast. I listen to it religiously, and I really love the recommendations that both Ariel and Raylene give, so I was on the hunt when Ariel had given this a rave review. Now, I really don't know much about Jane Austen at all, nor have I read any of her books yet, which is pretty poor. I think I should probably carve out a little bit more time to get onto my classics. I actually have a bench here dedicated to classics, and I could probably count on one, maybe two hands how many of these I've actually read, and I can see that I have a Jane Austen here, Emma. But this is a non-fiction telling a new story of Jane Austen's life, examining the places and spaces that mattered to her, and I guess that's why it's called Jane Austen at Home. So I am really looking forward to getting around to this as well. I should probably get back to making some progress on this little tapestry because I would really like to get it finished today. It's finished and I am super pleased with how it's turned out. I had a tiny bit of a challenge with the corners where I found that I didn't have quite enough to overlap sometimes, and I wonder why that is. I'm sure one of you will be able to tell me what that could have been in the comments. I think that it might have been that when I pinned on the binding, because I'm using all second-hand fabrics and linens, they can be prone to a bit of movement. And I found that as I kind of stitched into each corner with the machine, that the bit I had over the end slightly misaligned from the corners as I sewed off the corner. And so I'm wondering if that was it. Or potentially it could have been that I didn't put my needle in quite the right place when I started re-sewing the next kind of side after I'd come off the corner. So yeah, I'm sure one of you will be able to tell me why I didn't have quite enough to overlap. But I'm still pleased with how neat it looks on the front. My corners have not like distorted too much, so that's good. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. So next is the exciting part of deciding where its home will be. And I watched a video yesterday about some different methods for hanging quilts. So the tapestries that live just out of shot on the side there, these are the first ones I ever made. And for this hanging method, what I did was I got some wooden dowels from the DIY store, and then just screwed in like a picture fixing and used this kind of cord or twine to hang it with. But I found, as you can see, and this is why they're kind of here just to decorate my studio rather than up anywhere else, is that they started to dip. And I think that's because I didn't sew this strip that housed the dowel high enough. I think I should have sewn it right at the top, just underneath the binding, so that it didn't create this kind of lip. So I watched a couple of videos yesterday on different quilt hanging methods, and because this one is so small, I think I might actually try using command strips. And also, because of the size of this one, what I'm keen not to do is have a piece of dowel that kind of pushes it away from the wall and creates that curve to the side. So I think I'm going to give these little command strips a go, and I can just see how it goes over time, because this isn't going to cause any damage if it falls. So I'm super pleased with how my first work in progress has turned out. I think it looks really pretty in that spot above those colourful books, and I'm really going to enjoy looking at it every day rather than it being stuffed away on a shelf below me. So that's great that I've finally got it done and got it on the wall where it belongs. Before I sign off, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who watched my first video. I've honestly been absolutely blown away by the response. I can't believe it. And just a huge thank you to everyone who's watched the video and left lovely comments as well. It's been so encouraging, and I'm just really excited to be part of such a warm community. And quilting and sewing, they're those things where you're constantly learning new skills and you never stop learning. So I'm really looking forward to learning from all of you guys and from all the tips and tricks which I'm sure you know and I can learn from you too. So yeah, a huge thank you. And to anybody who's watching this one as their first video, then thank you as well. If you would like to stick around for the journey, I would love it if you wanted to subscribe, because I've got more coming soon. And on that note, anybody who's watched the first video where I featured the vest, don't worry, that is coming next. So I'm super excited to get that one progressed as well. It's going to take me just that little bit longer because it's a bit more complex. This was a nice, quick and easy project to get finished. But don't worry, it's on the way and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it turns out. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon. Bye!